I'm not going to put you on the spot.
No, wait, no. Let me say it this
please
way.
go ahead. Please go ahead.
Let me say it this way. Everybody at the company, every member of the team is focused on revenue.
Okay.
Let's not get it twisted.
All
so
right.
whether you're content, the bottom line is money coming in, right?
You are now listening to Marketing Over Wine, a podcast where I chat with the marketers behind the companies and the campaigns you see in the world today. They share everything, how they got into marketing, the strategies and the tools that they use, how they charge for their services, and the mistakes and successes they have made in their career. Each episode is unfiltered and a masterclass, so come join us. I am your host as always, Olawumi Olaniyi.
Welcome, listeners, to another episode of Marketing Over Wine. Joining me today is Badmus. Ore is a product marketer and communications lead at Pade. I don't know why. I call it Pade at Pade, a SaaS company that helps African businesses hire, manage, and pay their team. She's also the co-founder of Temsi Africa, an initiative helping more people transition better and grow in their tech marketing careers to populate a truly rewarding ecosystem. Previously, Ore has worked with the FinTech startup Eyowo, popular EdTech uLesson, and marketing agency Lose Media Limited. Thank you for coming on the pod, Ore.
Thank you so much for allowing me.
And you are the first product marketer I'm chatting with on the Marketing Over Wine podcast.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's an honor.
A quick thing to add, if you haven't subscribed yet and you love the content of Marketing Over Wine, please do so and share with all your friends. Now let's get back to the episode.
Well done to you and the team on the rebrand of Pade. I'd like to start from there. From the product marketing side of it, what was your process like from the moment when you realized that, the company needed a rebrand to the actual rebrand to people?
So I'll first like to say that the idea of the rebrand came from the CEO.
Okay.
And he basically led that effort.
All right.
As the marketing lead for me, my responsibility was to ensure that the new guidelines didn't stray away from the essence of the product.
Okay.
It was important for me that we remained customer centric, because what we do it not for ourselves but for our customers, right?
Yeah.
It was also important. There was a huge part of that process that had to do with communications. So it was also important for me to get everyone on the team aligned with how we wanted to roll out the rebrand.
Okay.
And also get everybody, get everyone up to date on what our new brand story is, our new identity, because it's not just good enough to make an announcement that, we've rebranded.
Yeah.
Those of us who are the custodians of the brand, we also need to be attached or connect to what the new or refreshed identity is.
That's true.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for sharing that. Let's backtrack a bit.
Okay.
Your first degree was in English language.
Oh my gosh.
Then you worked as an actor, apparently, on Teen Cell, and you worked again as a customer service intern, then a producer, then a screenwriter, and then a drama instructor at Middle Hall. What drew you exactly to marketing in all of this? What drew you to marketing as a whole, and how did your journey in this field begin?
Let me just tell you that I wanted to change my life. But on a more serious note, come to think of it, it's my first proper 9 to 5. Let me see. Okay, so my first 9 to 5 was in the bank, was at GTB.
Okay.
Right, where it was a holiday job just before service year. But my PPA, where I was posted to, was an NGO, and the role that I played was a marketing role. So I was, the comms executive and all of that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And after service year, I was retained. So I did that for close to 2 years before moving back to Lagos, Nigeria.
Okay.
Quite all right. You mentioned that, I've dabbled in acting, drama, and all of that.
Yeah.
I suppose that.
And drama teaching too.
Yes. I suppose that there are transferable skills in this, different paths.
Okay.
Right. That helped me. Also, when you put into context my background in English and all of that.
Yeah.
I've always been in communications, in some way, in marketing in some way, even when I try to tell myself otherwise.
Yeah.
Right. And then at Meadow Hall, outside of just doing drama instructing, I was also responsible for directing and producing our annual drama play, which is usually a big thing.
Okay.
And a huge part of that is ensuring the success of the production, which involves, marketing it to parents and all of that. And as a filmmaker as well, outside of acting, I started to do more producing my own stuff.
Okay.
And a huge part of producing or executive producing is ensuring that, you get your plays or your film out there. So there's a bit of marketing. There's always been a bit of marketing in the things that I've done, right?
Yeah.
And coming into tech, it just felt like the lowest hanging fruit for me and the fastest routes that I could, just pick up and run with. So yeah.
All right.
That's how we got here. It's a long story.
Okay. You took a product marketing course with Treford Africa far back as 2022. Before and after then, have there been other courses or books that have helped you on your product marketing journey?
So prior to taking that course, I wouldn't say that I was a product marketer.
Okay.
I was first a creative lead and then I transitioned into content marketing. So most of the courses that I had taken were on content marketing, content strategy, writing, copywriting, right?
Yeah.
And when I decided I wanted to transition to product marketing and it was time to upskill, it was a no-brainer that a structured body, because I also wanted, proper certificates and all of that.
Yeah.
So it was a no-brainer that a structured body to help me do that was Treford.
Okay.
So prior to Treford, I had mostly just taken content marketing courses.
All right then. You once mentioned that people said to stop calling yourself a content writer. You mentioned that friends around you told you that you were either doing products or growth marketing.
When was this?
Don't worry about that. We have our ways of finding out. We tweeted it at some point.
Okay, so can you take that again?
I said you once mentioned that people, your friends, told you that you should stop calling yourself a content writer. They said you were either doing product or growth marketing. So speaking of that, what is the difference exactly between a content writer, a product marketer, and a growth marketer? Now,
this is putting me on the spot.
now I'm thinking of throwing one more into the mix for the sake of it. You also said you were doing content marketing. So let's add content marketing to that.
Oh my gosh.
What is the difference between being a content writer, being a product marketer, being a growth marketer, and then also being a content marketer?
Oh my gosh. This
4 different roles.
This is such a Twitter conversation thing. Okay, so I would say that a content writer is not necessarily a content marketer.
Yeah.
Right. So you're writing content, you're churning out content. You're not necessarily concerned about the marketability of that content, right?
Yeah.
There's some metrics that don't necessarily stand out to you or bother you, right? You're just churning out content, and the kind of content that you write, can be varied from scripts to case studies and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
But now a content marketer's job is beyond writing.
Yeah.
A content marketer's job rides on the fundamentals of marketing in the first place.
Okay.
You have to understand the fundamentals of marketing before you can then build either content or product or growth on it.
All right.
Right? So as a content marketer, you are marketing your products with relevant, authentic content to a specific target audience.
Okay.
Now that can look differently, right?
Yeah.
Your core is you're using content to drive key results, right?
Yeah.
For a product marketer and a growth marketer,
Okay.
I would say that in the Nigerian context, there has been a lot of bloodlines when it comes to roles and responsibilities and all of that.
Okay.
But essentially, the job of a product marketer is to ensure the success of your product.
Yeah.
So from ideation of the product. And a lot of times, hardly would you find a product marketer who joins an organization at the ideation stage of a product.
Yeah. Sadly enough.
Yeah, but that's where our jobs start from.
Yeah.
Where you are able to then give input to say, okay, we're going to, launch this product based off of the research we've carried. That, if you've carried the research, if you've done the research, if you've not done the research, or we have to research what the market is like.
Yeah.
Is the market even ready for this kind of products. And then based off of the insights we've gotten, I think that we should include feature X, because I think feature X will help in maybe the virality of the product or the marketability of the product, right?
Yeah.
So as early as that, you can start ensuring that the product is well received going into the market, right?
Yeah.
And then you start to think of things like, okay, pricing and all of that, the competitive edge. How do I want to penetrate the market? What's the strategy, right? And then after penetrating the market, how do I sustain the buzz?
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
How do I drive adoption, the usage of this product?
Okay.
Yeah. So, and then growth, I think that growth is more commercially focused, so to say. It takes into account all of the things that, a product marketer does. A product marketer is very bullish about their products, right?
Okay.
Which also entails the commercial success of it, right? But I think you're a growth marketer, the distinction will be that they are more concerned about, the commercial success of it. And that also entails like working with different departments, customer experience or success, product and engineering, and everybody. Yeah. It's bloodlines, but
yeah. Speaking of that bloodline, I am thinking of throwing a particular controversial question into the mix.
Oh dear.
In a previous episode, one of my guests once said that growth marketing is redundant. And our reason for saying growth marketing is redundant is because the responsibilities of a growth marketer per se can also be found under the job description of other roles like the marketing manager or the product marketer, as you have said, or even the content marketer. Because now when you were explaining what a growth marketer does, you mentioned the commercial side of it, focusing more on the commercial side of it. But when you think about it again, that is sort of what a product marketer does and also what a content marketer does, because a content marketer creates content to not just build or create brand awareness, but also to convert into sales or lead generation, which is the commercial side of it. So I'm not going to put you on the spot.
No, wait, no, let me say this
please
way.
Go ahead.
Let me say it this way. Everybody at the company, every member of the team is focused on revenue.
Okay.
Let's not get it twisted. So whether you're content, the bottom line is money coming in, right? Now, I think the idea of where growth is, or where growth came from, you've heard a lot about growth hacking, which basically entails like finding maybe the non-usual ways of driving the success of the product, right? So I've heard people, say that, marketing, entails like all the traditional aspects of marketing that we've known from time immemorial, while growth has to do with, a lot of digital experiments, A/B testing. Growth is both scientific and art, right?
Okay.
So I think that's, where the aspect of growth comes in.
Okay.
Do you understand? But and which is why, like, I think that every marketer, everybody on the team needs to have a growth mindset, right?
Definitely.
So if you're a social media marketer, there has to be an element of growth into what you do, because you're not just marketing on socials. You're marketing on socials to increase your followership, boost your community. Exactly. You're growing your channel. If you're B2B, it will be great to see that, okay, most of our demo requests are coming from our social media channel. That is growth.
Okay.
Right. So, yeah.
All right. Earlier on, you mentioned that usually a product marketer is supposed to be hired before the product even goes live into the market, so that then they can liaise with maybe the product manager to decide on the features that would be in the product or how to create buzz before the product launches. But in the society, or rather in the country that we live in, most times when companies want to hire a product marketer, it's mostly because they have gone live already, and then the company realizes that, we actually need a product marketer. Are both scenarios different for the product marketer in terms of the campaigns, or in terms of the strategies, or in terms of how to go about their daily responsibilities? Are both scenarios different for them? And if yes, how different is it?
I think that, of course, there is a difference in scenario. Well, when it comes to the aspect of how you connect to the product, how well you know the product. If you were there from the inception, how the product was, put together, the features that made it up, and, the reasons behind feature A over feature B, right? There's a way that you know the product in and out, which is different from when this product has been put together and it's been launched and you're brought in to, sell, to market and whatnot. You then have to, do your own homework of getting to know the product, getting to know what has already been built.
Okay.
So you're seeing it from a place of, okay, this is what we have, right?
Yeah.
Now, what could be done is, after seeing what you have, you can then make recommendations for future updates, right? That you think, oh, okay, I suggest that we include this or we reduce this to make this better. Do you understand?
Yeah.
But now, okay, a good example is the end-wage access product we released sometime in Q4.
Eyowo.
Yes. Now, I particularly, I don't know if any other product marketer feels like this, but I particularly feel more connected to that product than the entire platform.
Okay.
So the entire platform, I came and I met it that way. So I'm doing my homework, learning this, learning that. I'm like, okay, great product. I know you.
Yeah.
But then Eyowo is like my baby. I was there from when the CEO shared the idea, and they were like, okay, what are the rules that we're going to put in place?
Yeah.
Is there like a cutoff? All those. I don't know how to put it. Like, it just made the experience much more personal. For me.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
That's one difference that I see.
I understand that. I think on your Twitter page, you described it as the mood. You once talked about, you said the mood is quite different when you get hired at the launch stage and when you get hired later on during the product. So I think that describes all of what you've talked about. Now, the mood is different when it's your idea, when you're part of the ideation stage, and when you just come in at the, we need to grow stage.
So not necessarily like when it's your idea, because honestly, it's never really your idea. It's, the team's work, right?
Yeah.
But my point generally is that when you're invited into something at the completion stage, is clearly different from when you've been a part of something from the ideation stage. Yeah.
Now, at the beginning, we talked about, or rather, you explained your process, your role in Pade's rebrand as the product marketer. So besides working on something like that, besides working on the communication aspect of it or the product marketing aspect of it, what does a product marketer do exactly? What are some of your day-to-day responsibilities as a product marketer?
Okay, some of my day-to-day responsibilities involve okay, so I would like to say that the role that I play right now is more, I'm the team lead.
Okay.
So I do more strategy, brain work, and all of that, right?
Yeah.
So my day-to-day will look like, following up on my team members, on the tasks and initiatives that they're meant to carry out, tied to the key results and strategy that I already came up with, ensuring that we're on track on our roadmap and the campaigns that we put together.
Okay.
I'm also making sure that our lead generation is going on and we're meeting the targets that we need to meet. So do we need to tweak something on the website? Is there a way that we want to rearrange our website or redesign the website to boost conversion of the people who visit our website? Because it's not just about visits. We also have to convert the people who come to the website, right?
Yeah.
If we're running ads, how are our ads doing? And then even within the product itself, how are we driving revenue within the product? How are we using the product to sell the product?
Yeah.
How are we upselling? So if a company is running payroll with us, but they're not processing tax and pension with us, what tactics can be deployed to drive the adoption of, tax and pension remittances?
Yeah.
So that's what my day-to-day looks like, and sitting in a bunch of meetings with collaborators from other teams, because we don't work in isolation.
So, definitely.
We also have to carry other teams along. And then sales enablement, because it's B2B. So a huge part of what you do is like, how can we enable the success of, the sales guys and achieve a faster closing rate and all of that.
All right. You just mentioned something around sales enablement, and it makes me remember a recent interview that you had with Tech Cabal. You mentioned that you and the Pade team invested substantially in your words, bolstering brand awareness, refining your sales processes, and cultivating authentic relationships with your audience. So, what does this process of brand awareness and sales process refinement look like in practice? Now, we know all of the theory aspect, but in practice, what does it look like?
In practice, so for brand awareness, you just have to strategize on, what are the things that I can do? What is the idea that I can put together that the team can work on, that whatever we do sort of gets people talking about the brand, the product, puts us in the face of more of our target audiences. So an example of that is our year in review reports that we released this year in January, right? Now we put that out, to reflect like this is how we did in 2023, right? But the intention is so that it can also garner us some brand authority, right? And awareness, right? So if you put out a good report and people are like, people are talking about the report. Oh, this report said this. Or who put out the report alongside the report? So people are curious. They want to know, what brand is this that put out these numbers? Then they find your website and then they go through what you have, right? So you're filling the top of the funnel. You're driving them down. They've gone to your website. And let's say maybe one or two of those people then say, I like what I see. And then they go ahead to book a demo, right? Now that's a plus for us because we've not just only created awareness, we've been able to move that person, that prospect, all the way down to coming further into our ecosystem to book a demo where we then pass that on to sales. Now the process of sales refinement, we had to do a lot of sync between marketing and the sales team to ensure that things don't fall through the cracks. So the leads that we pass on to sales, how are they engaging with these leads? Are they calling them? Are they calling all the leads every day? What's the rate to booking versus demo session? How many of these leads are even sales qualified to begin with? How many of the leads from marketing channels converted into actual revenue? What is the profile of these businesses, right? And if we realize that, XYZ business has this profile and we figure out that there's a trend, then we know that, for marketing, it will help salespeople for us to double down on targeting those kind of businesses because we've been able to highlight that these businesses will close faster or they bring more money to the table, right? So marketing and sales just have to do a lot of sync. If we want to do an exhibition, we always, consult with our sales guys. This is the exhibition we're thinking of. Do you think it's going to be worth your while? What are they feeling about it? Because at the end of the day, they are the ones responsible for picking up that lead or prospect and running with it. So
and converting them.
And then, we make sure that, how can we help their process better? So outside of exhibiting, do we want to, have speaking slots to sort of boost our profile at the exhibition a bit more than every other person who's exhibiting there, things like that.
Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
What tools do you use in all of this? What tools do you use day to day as part of your workflow?
So for me, Mixpanel is like my best friend, right? Because, that's where you get all the information about product usage and all of that. So there's Mixpanel, there's Firebase for push notifications, in-app messaging, MailChimp for email marketing. And then, there are a host of others, but I don't directly interface with these tools because I mostly, lead the team. And so the ones that I, still interact with, or the ones that the team uses.
Yeah.
We have Clearbit, we have Microsoft Clarity.
Okay.
And the likes.
All right then. When I reached out to you, I mentioned that I found you through Temsi Africa. Why reading Gifts Year in Review? For listeners of Marketing Over Wine, what is Temsi Africa? What are you building? Please tell us more about that.
I'm excited.
All right, let's go.
Okay, Temsi Africa.
Temsi Africa.
All right, Temsi Africa is a not-for-profit that was set up by myself and Izzy Ekong to help launch the careers of budding tech marketers.
Okay, sounds like an elevator pitch. Concise.
So, long and short, we help budding marketers, tech marketers launch their careers.
Okay.
So how do we do that? We do that by supporting them with scholarships to boot camps, mentorship cycle, internship placements, amidst other resources and support that we give post the program.
Okay.
So you mentioned gifts. You mentioned that you came across me or my name.
Yeah, while reading a year in review.
Yeah, so Gift is one of our scholars, right? She's an alumnus right now.
Okay.
And using Gifts as a case study, we put out a call for applications. Gifts applied out of, other applications. Hers stood out. We chose her and a bunch of other people. They moved on to the next stage, which was the interview stage, where they had to, have a chat with a panel of experts, both HR and marketing experts.
Okay.
Right? After this interview, they then move to the next stage where we do all reference checks and all of that to ensure that these people are who they say they are, because we're sort of standing for them, so to say, right?
Yeah.
Thereafter, they go off to bootcamp to learn about either content marketing, product marketing, digital marketing, or whatever other paths that we include, right?
Yeah.
And from there, once they are done, they move into their mentorship cycle where they get mentored one-on-one for about a month by industry experts. And then just as they're wrapping up that exercise, we begin to put them in front of potential employers to try and, secure internship spots for them.
Okay.
Yeah. And from there, we monitor their progress, how they're doing. We keep in touch with the companies that they're working at to see how well they're doing, and also make sure that they are learning, right? And they're being treated, fairly and with respect and dignity, because we know how marketers are being treated in this industry. Yeah. So, and it's hopefully kicks off from there.
Okay. I just want to say it's beautiful that Temsi Africa is more or less like an entire process thing. It's both pre and even post. So you're not just teaching them, you're also helping them walk through the stage of getting the job and even checking on them after they have gotten the job. So well done on that. That's really beautiful.
Thank you. It's very important to us to provide support. My journey, I always say that I don't think I will be here without the support of certain people in my life, because my background has been from film, drama, a bit of marketing, tech, and then coming into tech and, something tragedy hitting 6 months coming into tech and just having to find my way. I rode on the shoulders of people, right? People showed up for me, either from trying to help me find jobs, gigs, or sending courses my way for me to take, or just, advising me. And I think that it is essential that people have as much support as they need. There are a lot of this kind of initiatives for technical roles in tech, right?
Yeah.
And not so much for non-technical roles, how much more tech marketers. So if we can do it, if we're able to do it with the support, and when I say we, I mean Temsi Africa as a whole, and if we're able to do that with the support of the industry, which, we've had beautiful support from other professionals in the industry who offer their services without us, doing any payments and what's not, right? So they're all volunteering of their expertise, their time, their resources, their knowledge, their wisdom. So I think it just makes a more, as we like to say, rewarding ecosystem for all.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned mentees and mentors for Temsi Africa. So let's imagine this. A Temsi Africa mentee reaches out to you. She says that she wants to follow your footstep and become a product marketer. What 3 skills does she need to become a great product marketer, according to your experience?
first off, you have to write.
Okay.
You have to, and this is not just about product marketing. Like if you're a marketer, you have to write, because everything starts and stops on the table of writing as a marketer, right? So you have to learn how to write.
Okay.
That's one invaluable skill. You have to be curious.
Okay, true.
You have to be curious about meaning, right?
Yeah.
What does this mean? I see that, a lot more marketers have caught the buzz of the numbers. But it's not just about the numbers. What are the numbers telling you?
Yeah.
Right? You have to be curious enough to want to investigate what those numbers mean to you.
Preach.
So if you don't have a sense of curiosity, right?
Yeah.
I don't see how, that would work. What other skill? Marketing, a huge part of marketing is psychology.
Yeah.
So there has to be some people skill there. Now, this involves collaborating with other teams to get work done. It also involves understanding the psyche of your target audience, right?
Yeah.
A lot of marketing is psychology.
Yeah.
What are those psychology principles that feed into your marketing strategy? Is it FOMO? People like to belong.
True.
People like to feel like they're part of something, right?
True.
So if you understand that psyche, right, how do you implement that in your strategy? Do you want to create an exclusive community? Do you want to create something? Do you get?
Yeah.
So you have to develop your people skills.
Okay. One more. I mentioned 3.
Yeah, I mentioned curiosity, I mentioned people skills, and I mentioned writing. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right then. Now let's talk money. So many people don't know how to price themselves when applying for jobs. Sometimes it's too low. They mention a very low bar salary. Other times you find people asking for a ludicrous amount with no experience to offer. You can probably see someone who is just getting into marketing, who is just starting out as a product marketer with no years of experience, asking to be paid in dollars and to start with $1,000 per month. Now, that is quite ludicrous. For a product marketer just starting out, what tips, what advice, based on your personal experience, would you give them on pricing their services? What advice and what tips have worked for you?
So for me, in my own situation, I transitioned right into content marketing and then product marketing. So most of my moving was within the companies I worked. So when I transitioned from a creative lead to a content marketer, I was at uLesson, right? So my pay, in fact, what I was paid as a creative lead was more than what I was paid as a content marketer. I took a pay cut, right? So yeah. I took a pay cut, and that affected a bit, but also because I was pretty new to that field formally. So it was a case of I'm here to learn.
Sorry to cut you. Did you intentionally take the pay cut because you wanted to learn?
It was a case of fighting for my life, right? I moved to a new city for this job.
Okay.
I moved to a new city for this job. That's the creative lead role. And 6 months down the line, the company comes and says, they're moving in a new direction. And that role, there were 3 of us on the role, that role had become redundant. So they were going to be letting us go. Now there was conversation about, are we letting all 3 go? Are we assimilating some to other departments? And while I, was a creative lead in the content and curriculum department, I contributed to marketing efforts. So there were this set of TV commercials that marketing was working on at the time. So myself and one other creative lead, came up with the scripts and all of that. So there had been that relationship that had built with the marketing team. So when it was a case of, are we letting them go, blah, blah, blah. They did let me go, but then they called me back. They called me back some months afterwards, and that was how I I then got into marketing. So at that point, it felt like, you know what, I was starting from scratch, but my scratch wasn't necessarily scratch because I had, you know, been a part of the system.
Yeah.
And, you know, yeah.
I think
and
it's what you talked about with transferable skills.
Yeah.
You were able to transfer the skills you got from there into another one.
Yeah. So I wasn't paid, you know, what I would have been paid if I was starting from scratch, right?
Yeah.
I had a lot of experience that enabled my fast success in that role. So my writing, script writing experience, filmmaking experience, all of that came in clutch.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. And then when I was at Eyowo, and you know, in fact, the way that I started doing product marketing at Eyowo was not because I said, oh, this was what I wanted to do. There was a restructuring of departments, and my manager at the time said, oh, I want Ore with me on the utilization team.
Okay.
Because I supposedly had demonstrated some, I don't know, whatever to her, right?
Yeah.
Because then I was just like, no, why is they taking me away from, you know, content and all of that?
Yeah.
I really love content, but she's just like, trust me, you know,
Yeah.
I struggled a bit. But then when I started to open up my mind to the idea of product utilization, I was just like, this is interesting. I am quite excited. I feel like I'm a detective, like, okay, what is this number telling me? What's this saying? Has anybody used this? Was there a boost? What did we do around that time? You know, it was very exciting to me.
Yeah.
So I earned, I don't think, I didn't get a raise when I was moved to that department. So I was still earning what I was earning as a content writer.
Okay.
Right. But moving from one company to another, of course, I had like a little pay bump, right?
Yeah.
So that was like what I was on. So what I would advise is if you have the opportunity, because the market right now is not looking great.
Yeah.
Right. Especially for newbies. Startups are not paying as much as they used to pay. So what you might be starting off with from scratch, you know, I really can't call a figure, but might not be okay enough or sustainable for the realities of our economy these days.
Yeah.
So if you have the opportunity of moving internally at the company where you're at, right, take it.
Okay.
There's less casualty that can happen to your salary if you go that route, as opposed to, you know, starting from scratch.
Yeah.
If you can also seek out opportunities like what Temsi Africa offers. I mean, we start off with internships, right?
Yeah.
And when we bargain with or negotiate with potential employers for our scholars, we always let them know, like, this is the benchmark of what we're willing for our scholars to engage with, right? So if you're paying them less than this, they will not, you know, be coming on board.
Yeah.
So that already gives you like a stepping stone, you know. But again, not one, it's not a one fits all situation. Whatever your reality is, right?
Yeah.
Even if like your pay it falls below what maybe, you know, somebody else is taking, right? Determine if there's more advantage to that than the pay. You know, are you learning? Is it a place where your work will shine, right?
Yeah.
Will you get due recognition for your work?
Yeah.
Or is it a bad product that, you know, would bring your credibility into question?
Yeah.
Is it a place where when you do good work there, it helps your hireability for the next place that you're going at, right? So sometimes it's not about the money, it's about the other things that can help in, you know, securing the job that would then bring the money.
Yeah, that's deep.
It feels like I said a lot.
That's deep. Looking back now, if you could give your younger self any advice, marketing, personal life, what advice would you give your younger self?
Just do you, Orolua. Like, do you.
Yeah.
Just do you, be yourself, like, and stop overthinking. What is this person thinking? What are they saying? Am I doing too much? I'm not doing too much.
Yeah.
Is it going to work out? It's not going to work out. Am I on the right? Like, in hindsight, knowing what I know now, time does its thing.
True.
Right? Time really does its thing. So just do what you want to do. Just be yourself, because the 31-year-old plus you has realized that you're most happy when you do what you want to do.
Yeah.
So just do you, whether it's being career, and explore. So one of the things that used to bother me a lot growing up was that I did so many things.
Yeah.
Right. In this conversation, you mentioned that I acted, drama instructor, Then plus that with all the other businesses I've run, right?
Yeah.
So I used to be so bothered that I have my hand in so many pots.
Yeah.
But right now, I am actually glad that I've had those experiences and that I have that much capability to do so many things. Not everybody can say that, or they're able to go into different professions and excel at these professions or do them well. But as long as I'm able to do something and I want to do it, please explore it. Life is long. Life is dynamic.
Yeah. All right. I also think this gives a bit of premise or a bit of bonus points to the topic of starting as a generalist first and then moving on to specialists. So I think the experiences, the skills you were able to gather in all of those things helped. Because I saw this tweet, someone was asking if it is better or if it is preferable to start as a generalist, then move on to specialist, or to start as a specialist, then move on to a generalist. And I would say bonus points to generalist to specialist part.
Yeah, I agree as well. I mean, do everything, dabble, see. So, for example, product marketing encompasses a lot of the other aspects of marketing, right?
Yeah.
You can't say, oh, you're a product marketer and like most product marketers have backgrounds in one aspect of marketing or the other. So you can see a product marketer who has, a content background, and it is evident in their work that their product marketing is content driven.
Yeah.
There are product marketers who have data analyst background, right? Then it's always obvious. You see that these people they have a more scientific approach to what they do, right? So it's best to have a sense of what it all entails.
Yeah.
You might not be 100% in everything, but have a sense of it, and then you can niche down to the one that best, works for you.
All right. Now, away from marketing, on a wine tasting note, I stumbled on this wine horoscope article. What your wine says about you. Would you like to know your own?
Yes.
Okay. So, what type of wine do you like?
I like dry wine. I like very tanned wine.
Okay.
I like full-bodied red wine.
Okay. Let me read this out. Let's have it. All right. For red wine, you are typically the smarter, richer, and happier of the wine drinkers. There's a clause, and you also drink more. Apparently. Maybe it's the extra drinking that makes you happy. Well, time to do more feed studies.
That's fine by me. I can't be bothered about that. That is not an issue in my books. Like, I can finish a whole bottle of wine by myself. The other day I went to visit my friend Ibi, and she offered me wine. I just noticed halfway that she wasn't drinking. I'm like, babe, what's up? She's like, oh, it's just for me. I'm like, oh, great. Then I checked the bottle and it says 17%. I finished it. I mean, that's not a problem. Is that a problem?
At all. At all. I'm currently having Apotic red wine, the wine blend, and I think this is 13.5%.
On a Tuesday afternoon.
Well.
No judgments from me, trust me.
Okay. Now, if you could have a glass of wine with any marketing professional of your choice, past or present, I don't want to say dead or alive, but past or present, who would it be and why?
I don't think I have a name. I don't think I have anyone in particular, but I suppose I would like to sit with members of the Barbie marketing team.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about outside of marketing?
Who I would like to have a glass of wine with.
Yeah. Speak it into the air.
To what end? Like just chit chat, right?
Yeah, just chit chat.
Anybody that I would like to meet.
Yeah.
I would like to have a sit down with Alicia Keys. I don't know, I feel like she's really cool. I feel like she's I like the business side of her.
Okay.
In as much as, she's very creative. I'm sure my people will be expecting me to mention Beyonce, right? But Beyonce is my babe any day, anytime.
Okay.
Right. I feel like maybe I feel like, okay, Beyonce is, I don't know. But I don't know. I'm just very more interested in Alicia Keys. There are a couple of business moves that she's making with her husband. There's her tea company and all of that.
Okay.
So I want to get into all of that. And also they're going to stone me for this. I admire the love they share.
Okay.
Even though how it came to be is very questionable. Right. But from what I see, I like how they love each other. And yeah.
You like what you see? All right. Where can we go to learn more about Ore Badmus?
My LinkedIn, my Twitter. On LinkedIn, I am Ore Badmus. On Twitter, I am at the Ore Badmus _.
Okay.
I also have a content page on Instagram.
Okay.
It's at She's That Sun Child.
Okay. Would you like to be followed there?
Oh yeah, but it's not necessary. It's not a marketing page.
All right then. This brings us to the end of the podcast of this episode. So
it's been a good time.
Thank you for coming on the pod and for everything you have shared.
Thank you for having me.
Do have a lovely day ahead.
I will.
And
you too.
Hopefully you get to rest also.
Looking forward to.
Thank you once again.
Thank you.
Cheers and bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for joining me on this episode of Marketing Over Wine. To listen to more career stories of marketing professionals around the world, subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or any podcast app of your choice. Or simply visit marketingoverwine.com to stay up to date.